you will be watching Spotify University. So as usual, I will be declaring the alumnus.
There are a lot of reasons to not like Mercy, and that is coming from someone who plays a lot of Mercy, alright? Like, she's my main support. If you have a team that will enable her, she is, in my opinion, the most fun character in the game. I love just zipping around, flying around. It's a great time. There's one thing in this game that is more satisfying than getting a risky res off, and that is not backfilling into a third of my DPS games. Like, seriously, DPS players, please stop leaving your games. I am so sick of backfilling. It is so annoying. Backfilling sucks, okay? And you know what else sucks? Being annoyed. And I will admit, Mercy players are one of the most annoying groups of people in the Overwatch community. Some people would say that they're the most annoying players, but to that I would like to show you Sombra players. They play Sombra, and I hate Sombra, so that's it. That's my only thing. I don't see like a Sombra Mafia. I just hate her so much. She's so fucking annoying. The Mercy Mafia is incredibly intense, and a lot of Mercy players are not the best at taking any sort of criticism, like, ever. Mercy mains are really stubborn. The only group of people that I found to be more stubborn than Mercy mains are Lucio mains, and it's very unfortunate that together they make like the worst support comp, like, pairing ever. Because I mean, it's like a betting game. Who's gonna swap, the Mercy main or Lucio main? Neither. It's probably gonna be neither. Let's be real. They're both incredibly stubborn groups of mains. And then there's the skins. I mean, where do I start with the skins? Mercy mains are funding this entire game with buying skins. What other group of like character players love their skins this much? And I see why people get annoyed about Blizzard pandering to Mercy mains all the time with all the Mercy skins. I mean, my Ryan mains out there, you guys are suffering. You guys deserve like one new skin, maybe two, maybe even a third one if you're lucky. But seriously, I've not seen a like new Ryan skin other than the new Valentine's one in so long. Like, there's so many Ryan players. I really thought they would have made a mythic Ryan skin by now, and I don't get why they haven't. Ryan players are very prevalent, and I'm sure they'd love a mythic skin. But even if you don't like Mercy, or you don't like how Mercy mains just like get all of the skins, you do have to admit it is kind of hilarious how a bunch of like Mercy mains bullied a multi-billion-dollar company into releasing a skin early. That is kind of iconic. Mercy is also incredibly annoying to play against because GA's cooldown is just so short, right? It's shorter than D.Va's boosters, than Winston's jump, unless he's in Primal Rage, but we're not talking about that. It's shorter than most dive abilities, which means that a good Mercy main can usually get away from you at least a couple of times before you finish her off. But a big reason why a lot of people don't like Mercy, like really don't like Mercy, is because they don't quite understand how Mercy is played. You have a big group of people who think that everyone who plays Mercy just blue beams one target, sits behind a wall the entire game, when in reality that makes up a very small amount of Mercy players. Most Mercy players would take on a much more precarious playstyle. You've probably heard this a million times, but Mercy has an incredibly low skill floor, an incredibly high skill ceiling, and she's an incredibly high risk and high reward hero. Like, if Mercy has her beam out and she's damage boosting someone who's, you know, popping off, they're gonna get a lot of kills with that damage boost. But if someone dives Mercy, with the time it takes to pull out her blaster, she's already screwed at that point. And let's be real, like, what are the chances that the person you're pocketing is going to notice and turn around? They're not always going to do that. And res is also a pretty high risk, high reward kind of thing. Even if you're resting behind cover, someone could dive you pretty easily. The res animation takes like a good few seconds to do. Like, you could be killed very easily while resing someone, and you can't just cancel res. Like, your movement is slowed down so much that most of the time it's just quicker to finish res than to hop out of the res range. And then of course there's GA. If you mess up your Guardian Angel, you're stuck in the middle of a team fight. Or if you go in to try and help like a Doomfist, a Wrecking Ball, a D.Va, even a Tracer or a Kiriko, and they disappear, then you're screwed. You're left in the middle of the team and you've got no other flight paths out. Usually. Maybe you do have a flight path out, but you've used Guardian Angel already anyway, so you can't go use that again to get out of there. As well as that, Mercy has an incredibly big reliance on her teammates, more so than any other character in the game. I mean, damage boost is only useful if you're doing damage, and sometimes your teammates are having an off day, so damage boost ends up being like totally useless, and while you could still res, it's probably going to be wasted. At that point, your best option is probably just to swap off Mercy and pick a support that does a lot more damage, like Bat or Kiri or literally anyone else, to be honest. Because of Mercy's reliance on her teammates, there is quite a big stereotype around all Mercy players being boosted, especially those who are in high level play. Now, there is no doubt in my mind that there are certainly some boosted Mercy players out there, but there are boosted players of all different heroes out there, and I think it's quite unfair to single out Mercy players as boosted all the time, although I do understand why people make that conclusion, as she is so reliant on teammates, and you can do very well with a Mercy, and you can do very well as Mercy if you just have good teammates up until a certain point. I feel like some people just don't understand that you can't just blue beam as Mercy and get a ton of value at every single elo. That's not going to work all the time. There's also a ton of really good Mercy players out there who absolutely deserve their ranks, like Neandra or SK. They're really good. Like, your average player, regardless of whether they play Mercy or not, is not going to be pulling off that kind of movement and decision making. I mean, I just don't get why so many people put every single Mercy player they see into this little box of being an e-kit and looking for a simp to boost her. Like, what sort of preconceived stereotypes would lead up to that conclusion being made? It's fucking misogyny again. It always comes down to this, and you might be thinking, oh, Dex3, I don't want to hear about this. Yeah, well, I don't want to fucking deal with it. So shut up and listen. Or don't. I mean, you don't have to be here, but I'd appreciate it if you'd at least hear me out. So I think you should stay. And I think you should not comment on my banks. I'm working on it, I swear. But I think you should stay, you know, grab a drink, grab a snack, and take a seat, and let's talk. And by let's talk, I mean let's have an incredibly one-sided conversation, because you can hear me, but I cannot hear you. Although you could leave a comment. I think you should do that. Go on. Leave a comment. You know you want to. You know you want to. Tell me, what is your favorite Mercy skin? Mine is either Combat Medic Seeker or Winged Victory. Those are both phenomenal skins. Okay, what's yours? Come on, you know you want to tell me. Hey, have you ever heard of the Living Tombstone? They made that one song about Five Nights at Freddy's, and that other song about Five Nights at Freddy's. They've actually made several songs about Five Nights at Freddy's. They also, along with Black Griffin and Little Janie Cakes, made a song about Overwatch. This song is called No Mercy, and it's gotten a lot of recognition for being an absolute banger of a song, but not as much recognition for its underlying political messaging. Okay, listen, I can't prove that everyone who was writing this song, like, intended for there to be any sort of, like, political undertones, but they're either intentional or not. They are there, and I'm going to point them out. So, for context, when this song released, there's no role queue and open queue in Overwatch. It was just open queue. You could play whoever you wanted. Like, you could have all DPS or something. There wasn't some sort of limitation on role. So you could be playing like Tracer and then swap off to Anna or whatever, despite the fact that they're in different classes. Oftentimes women are pushed towards support characters, and I will get into that in a second, and oftentimes they are pushed towards Mercy specifically and even berated for not picking Mercy. Just like Little Janie Cakes in the song No Mercy. However, she sticks to her guns. She plays DPS characters, they end up losing, but she does stick to her guns and she doesn't pick Mercy. As well as that, when he's complaining about her not picking Mercy, or like going any support, he could have gone as support. I'm just saying. Okay, so I said I'd get into why women are pushed towards support roles, and I'm going to do that. And before someone's like, this doesn't happen, in my experience and in the experience of many other people I've seen talking about this or have talked about this with, it's pretty subtle. It's not like a big flashy thing. It's not like you're a woman, you must play support most of the time. Sometimes it is like that, but most of the time it's not. But it does happen, even if it's subtle, and I like talking, so here we are. And women being pushed towards or being influenced towards picking support roles in games comes due to a lot of reasons, such as societal influences, obviously we live in a society, cultural norms, and then the fear of like reinforcing the idea that women aren't good at video games. Many women don't grow up playing video games as opposed to a lot of men who do. When I was a kid, I loved video games, but I wasn't allowed to play any like sort of shooter games. So there's no Call of Duty, no Halo. Well, I play PlayStation, so obviously no Halo. But there was no sort of gun games, no first-person shooter games for me, so I never had that experience when I was a kid. And then when I started growing up a little bit, I just heard from a lot of places everywhere that like women don't really play video games, and I was kind of scared of being judged for playing video games when I started growing up a bit more, so I kind of stopped playing them. And then when I eventually got back into them, it felt like everyone else was miles ahead of me. And a lot of support characters have very low skill floors and very high skill ceilings, but that low skill floor is very tempting for people who want to provide value, don't want to reinforce the idea that women can't play video games, but also have like fuck all experience. Things like Mercy's more complicated movement, Lucio's rollouts, Anna's skill shot sleep darts, those are pretty high skill ceiling things. However, Mercy's movement in low elo, because realistically you're playing against shitty players who aren't going to punish you when you make mistakes, can be pretty easy. And well, Moreira, you don't even have to aim, you just look into general direction and you're getting a ton of value out of her already. And with Lucio, you don't have to aim to do healing or speed boost while you have to aim for damage. You can still provide value to your team if you have dog shit aim, if you're in low elo, that is, of course. But more so, I think that support roles have become a very pink collar role. For anyone who doesn't know, pink collar usually refers to jobs that are dominated by women. So nursing and teaching would be very big pink collar jobs. And usually when people are describing these jobs, they say that you need to be nurturing and caring and compassionate, things like that, that are typically associated with women. Now, with my research, I haven't found anything that says that women are naturally more compassionate, caring, or nurturing than men. It's ingrained, right? It's a societal expectation or whatever. We live in a society, and that is why pink collar jobs tend to have this sort of association with them. Pink collar jobs are usually the caring jobs, like support roles. Do you see where I am coming from? There is an expectation for women to take on most of the caring work in the world, where it be like doing most of the parental work, doing caring jobs like nursing, teaching, childcare, that sort of stuff, and that is bleeding into video games. Now, two things. I'm not saying, first of all, that's a bad thing. If you are a pretty nurturing person, you like being nurturing, you know what, good for you. Like, I'm glad. I personally love playing support. I like taking care of people. I love being able to help people out, and that is what attracted me to playing support in the first place. But you can't deny that, even if it's subtle, there are a lot of influences that would push women towards playing support, and more specifically Mercy. Now, I don't have some big thesis as to why it is Mercy in particular. I could say that, you know, in low elo you get a lot of value out of her without having a whole lot of skill, which is pretty good if you don't have a whole lot of gaming experience. And then as you climb the ranks, you'll learn how to aim, you'll learn how to do the fun movement, all that stuff will come to you, and you'll just like Mercy at that point. But I am saying that we as a society hate femininity. I mean, girls who are tomboys get praised for being like one of the boys and, you know, liking to play football and not minding getting dirty. And guys who are like into clothes, makeup, more feminine things will get bullied, teased, made fun of for having these feminine traits. And why? Is this because we demonize femininity? I'm so fucking sick of this, dude. This shit sucks. Like it or not, there are a lot of people out there who will see a female-dominated thing and just fucking hate it off the bat, or just have some sort of bias against it off the bat because it's a female thing. Now, am I saying that the only reason someone would not like Mercy or Mercy Bear is because they're a raging fucking misogynist? No, I'm not saying that. There are plenty of valid reasons to not like Mercy, which I've already outlined, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, some of them are reasons why I don't like playing against Mercy, even though I love playing Mercy. But this is a bias that I have actually seen fuck all people talk about. Like, genuinely, I'm so shocked that nobody talks about it. I see so many people like saying, oh, I hate Mercy for insert X reason that is using incredibly misogynistic language. I don't see fucking anybody be like, hey, that's not cool, man. Or like saying anything about this. Misogyny in gaming is a really, really big thing. I mean, like, there was Gamergate a while back, which I'm not going to get into, but if you don't know, the basics is it was a bunch of people on 4chan trying to like really discourage and sending like really hateful stuff towards women who wanted to get into gaming. I don't know the details myself because honestly it makes me too depressed to look into, but I know it was not good. I mean, I heard a story about a Valorant player, woman who is insanely good at Valorant but got rejected from a team like audition because one of the team members just didn't want to play with a woman. And when I can't verify the, you know, legitimacy of this claim, it is very believable. I mean, there's so many people who will see that there's a woman on their team and immediately be like, oh, we've lost the game, like in the loading screen, like, please get over yourself. Anyway, I've gone unbelievably off script, started ranting. I love ranting. Before we leave the floor, this is my boy, Frederick Fazbear. He looks like he ate a bean and I love him, so please be nice to him. That's Pastel Vanny. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I got her on sale. She's gorgeous. And then these are my fucking scuffed fucking guys that I got in Tesco's because they were on sale. They were like $3.49 or something. Look, so scuffed. I love them so much. Okay, is this like the most white feminist thing I've ever said? Probably. Yeah, probably like ever that I've ever said. I mean, like, there's women in Rafa using like scraps of tents as like pads, and I'm over here complaining because people are mean on the internet sometimes. But I think we can talk about both things, and I'm not good and not very well versed in like important things, right? But if you like hearing about important things like that, I'd really recommend the YouTuber Shakespeare. They make really high quality videos about like important things. One of their most recent videos was about TikTok trad wives and it was really good, so would recommend. 10 out of 10. Also, I don't want anything I'm saying to be misconstrued in any way, shape or form. So let me just be very clear. There are a lot of very legitimate reasons to not like Mercy or Mercy players, and I am not by any means saying that if you personally, you watching this, don't like Mercy or Mercy players, that you are a raging misogynist. I'm not saying that in the slightest, okay? Because there are just so many like regular normal reasons to not like Mercy or Mercy players. I'm also not saying that if you are a woman who likes playing support, specifically Mercy, that you should stop renting. I love playing support personally. I think it's so much fun, not just Mercy but other support characters. Recently I've been playing a ton of Zen, a ton of Bap, and it's been a lot of fun for me. Okay, that's it, I think. Subscribe if you want to. Don't subscribe if you don't want to. Have like a great day, night, morning, evening, whatever your time period is. Have a good time period. Okay, yeah, bye bye.